Let's be honest, there is a very specific look people give you when you mention your fur baby in polite conversation. It's that slight tilt of the head, the patronizing smile, and the inevitable follow-up. You know it's just a dog, right? Or it's not like it's a real human child. We've been conditioned to believe that love exists in a strict hierarchy, that there is a correct way to distribute our nurturing instincts, and that if you dare to bridge the gap between species, you're somehow failing at being a human. We're told that treating a pet like a child is a sign of loneliness, a replacement for something missing, or a psychological quirk of the modern, oversensitive era. But if you're the kind of person who makes life decisions based on your dog's anxiety levels, or if your cat has a dedicated spot in your bed and a higher quality diet than you do, you know that those labels are a total misunderstanding of the human heart. They aren't about your pet at all. They are about a society that is terrified of a love that doesn't demand anything in return. To treat a pet like a child isn't a substitution. It's an evolution. It's a psychological fingerprint of someone who has moved beyond the traditional, transactional nature of human relationships and found a way to access a purer, more ancient form of caretaking. The world wants to call it crazy, but psychology calls it something else entirely. It calls it interspecies attachment theory. And when you look at the data, it turns out that your brain isn't confused between a puppy and a baby. It's actually performing a sophisticated feat of emotional intelligence. Your love for your pet is a sign that your nervous system is capable of a profound level of empathy that many people never reach. To understand why we do this, we have to talk about the biological hack that changed everything. Evolution is incredibly efficient, and one of its most powerful tools is the Baby Schema. You know the traits: the large forehead, the wide eyes, the rounded face, the clumsy movements. These are the physical cues that trigger an immediate, involuntary surge of oxytocin in the human brain. It's a survival mechanism designed to make us protect human infants. But here's the thing, your brain doesn't have a species filter for that chemical hit. When you look at a golden retriever's soulful eyes or a kitten's rounded head, your caregiver circuits don't see a different species. They see a vulnerability that requires protection. For the person who treats their pet like a child, this isn't a mistake, it's a superpower. It means your nurturing instinct is so potent that it overflows the boundaries of biology. While the skeptics are busy categorizing their affection based on DNA, you are over here experiencing the oxytocin loop. Research shows that when a pet parent looks into their dog's eyes, both the human and the animal experience a spike in oxytocin levels. It is the exact same chemical feedback loop that bonds a mother to her newborn. You aren't pretending to feel a parental bond, your biochemistry is literally manufacturing it. But let's look deeper into the us versus them of it all. Why are some people so resistant to this idea? Usually, it's because they subscribe to a version of love that is based on performance and social status. In the human world, love is often a negotiation. We love our partners because of how they make us feel, or because of the life we build together. We love our friends because of shared interests. But the love between a pet and a parent is the only relationship on earth that is entirely stripped of ego. Your dog doesn't care about your LinkedIn profile. Your cat doesn't care if you're having a productive day. When you treat your pet like a child, what you're really doing is creating a sanctuary from the judgmental, high-pressure world of human interaction. You are choosing a relationship where the standard of intimacy is based on presence, not performance. For many of us, especially those who score high in the Big Five trait of openness, the human world can feel incredibly draining. We live in a society of golden retriever expectations. We are expected to be constantly available, constantly happy, and constantly on. But a pet parent understands the value of the quiet, steady bond. You aren't withdrawing from humans, you're being discerning. You're choosing a connection that respects your internal rhythm. Psychology actually suggests that people who treat their pets like children often have a highly developed internalized caretaker. You're likely the person in your friend group who notices when someone is quiet. You're the one who feels the shift in the room's energy. This sensitivity is often mocked as neuroticism, but in reality, it's a high-definition sensory system. You treat your pet like a child because you are uniquely tuned into their non-verbal cues. You can tell the difference between a hunger bark and a lonely bark. You notice the slight droop in their ears long before anyone else does. That isn't overreacting. It's a level of presence that most people are too distracted to achieve. And then there's the caretaker's paradox. For many people who have spent their lives being the strong one, the reliable one, or the one who has to hold everything together, receiving love can feel like an overwhelming debt. Human love often comes with strings, expectations of reciprocity, the need to be interesting or valuable. But giving love to a pet, that is pure. It allows you to step into the role of the protector without the vulnerability of being judged. When you buy that expensive orthopedic bed or cook a special meal for your cat, you aren't just spoiling an animal. You are healing your own nervous system. You are practicing a form of radical giving that doesn't require you to sacrifice your autonomy. Now we have to talk about the shadow side that the critics love to point out, the idea of anthropomorphism. This is the fancy word for projecting human emotions onto animals. The skeptics say, the dog doesn't know it's his birthday, or the cat doesn't care about the sweater. But recent cognitive science is starting to prove the skeptics wrong. We now know that dogs have the emotional complexity of a 2-year-old human. They experience jealousy, joy, grief, and even a sense of fairness. When you treat them like a child, you aren't faking a relationship. You are meeting them at their actual cognitive level. You are providing the emotional security that their species has evolved to need from us over thousands of years of co-evolution. Think about the big 5 personality traits again. Studies show that pet parents often score significantly higher in agreeableness and neuroticism. Again, don't let the word neurotic scare you. In this context, it means you have a highly reactive nervous system. You are more likely to feel the sensory assault of the modern world, the loud noises, the bright lights, the constant demands. For a person with this profile, a pet is the ultimate stabilizer. They are a living anchor. When you treat them like a child, you are creating a routine of care that regulates your own stress. The act of brushing them, feeding them on a schedule, or worrying about their health actually forces your brain to downshift from a state of high alert into a state of nurturing calm. There's also an interesting evolutionary theory about why this bond feels so safe. Human infants eventually grow up, develop their own egos, and hopefully move away. But a pet remains in that golden age of attachment forever. They are the eternal child. For people who have experienced trauma or unstable attachments in their past, the pet-parent bond offers something that human relationships often can't: absolute consistency. A pet's love isn't a variable, it's a constant. This allows your brain to finally stop being on guard. You don't have to wonder if your dog is going to stop loving you tomorrow because you said the wrong thing. That safety is a biological luxury. But let's address the elephant in the room, the social cost. Why does it bother people so much when you call yourself a mum or dad to a pet? It's because it challenges the human exceptionalism narrative. If we admit that a bond with an animal can be as deep, as valid, and as life-changing as a bond with a human, then we have to rethink how we treat the rest of the world. By treating your pet like a child, you are making a quiet, revolutionary statement. You are saying that vulnerability deserves protection, regardless of the DNA involved. You are valuing soul over species. This brings us to the mirror effect. Have you ever noticed how people who treat their pets like children tend to have pets that reflect their own personality? This isn't a coincidence. Because you're so deeply attuned to their needs, your pet's nervous system actually begins to co-regulate with yours. You aren't just owners, you are a dyad. You are two biological systems that have decided to sync up. When people mock this, they are mocking a level of biological harmony they've likely never experienced. They see weirdness, but you are experiencing resonance. So the next time someone tries to make you feel less than because you prioritize your pet's needs, or because you spend your kid fund on emergency vet bills, remember this: your brain is performing one of the most sophisticated emotional acts possible. You have taken a prehistoric instinct designed for a tiny group of humans and expanded it to include the entire natural world. You aren't missing a child, you're expressing a version of parenthood that is built on pure, unadulterated choice. You are the kind of person who understands that the deepest bonds aren't built on bloodlines, but on the silent, steady respect for life. You don't need a human child to validate your parental heart. You've already found a way to be a caretaker in a world that often forgets how to care. You found a way to be family on your own terms. In a society that is increasingly lonely, increasingly digital, and increasingly fragmented, your fur baby is a bridge back to something real. They are a reminder that you are still capable of selfless devotion. They are proof that your heart hasn't been hardened by the cynicism of the world. You're not obsessed, you're just deeply, beautifully human. This channel is a sanctuary for those of us who see the world through this lens, the ones who value the quiet, the sensitive, and the unconventional bonds that keep us grounded. If you've ever felt like you had to hide just how much you love your pet, I want you to know that you're in the right place. We aren't here to judge, we're here to understand the fascinating, complex psychology of why we feel so deeply. If this resonated with you, if it gave a name to that feeling you've always had, but couldn't quite explain to your human-only friends, then I'd love to have you join our community. Hit that subscribe button so we can keep exploring the unspoken side of psychology together. And I really want to hear your story in the comments. I want to know, what was that one moment where you realized your pet wasn't just a companion, but was truly a member of your family? What's the extra thing you do for them that most people wouldn't understand? Let's fill the comments with the reality of what pet parenthood actually looks like. Thanks for watching, and remember, your love doesn't need a reason to be real. It just needs to be yours. Wait, before you go, there's one more thing we need to discuss, and it's the legacy of the caretaker. We often think of our pets as the ones who need us, but in the long run, it's often the other way around. The pet-parent dynamic is a training ground for the soul. It teaches us about the fragility of life, the beauty of the present moment, and the dignity of aging. By treating a creature with a shorter lifespan like a child, you are knowingly signing up for a journey of profound grief. And you're doing it anyway. That is the ultimate engagement trick of the universe. It hooks us with the baby schema and the cute faces, but it leaves us with a heart that has been stretched and expanded to its absolute limits. You aren't just petting a dog, you are practicing for the big, heavy, beautiful parts of being alive. You are learning how to love something you cannot keep. And if that isn't the most parental lesson there is, I don't know what is. So go ahead and buy the birthday cake. Keep the special pet-only voice. Let them sleep on the pillows. You aren't crazy, you're just practicing a higher standard of intimacy. You're practicing being the kind of person the world needs more of. Someone who isn't afraid to love without a safety net.